Have you ever felt paralyzed? Not from a lack of options, but from having too many. That moment when the freedom to choose any path prevents you from taking a single step, the decision to change careers, end a relationship, or simply choose who you want to be tomorrow. Why is that so terrifying? We usually call this indecisiveness, or even laziness. But what if I told you that this is one of the deepest and most noble feelings of the human experience? The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre didn't call it indecisiveness. He called it anguish. The anguish of being radically, absolutely free. This video is about why your greatest source of anxiety is actually your greatest strength. But this anguish has a dark side. It makes us build comfortable prisons for ourselves. And what if I told you that the routine that gives you security might be the very cell that keeps your soul from growing? By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how Carl Jung's psychology gives us the key to break out of this prison. Not by eliminating the anguish, but by transforming it into a map to your true light. The most terrifying, and at the same time most liberating phrase from Jean-Paul Sartre is this: man is condemned to be free. Let's pause for a moment to feel the weight of that. Condemned, not blessed with freedom. Not invited to be free. Condemned. This means freedom isn't an option. It's an inescapable condition of your existence. What did he mean by that? That there is no instruction manual for your life. There's no pre-written destiny. No divine purpose whispered in your cradle, or a fixed human nature that dictates your action. You were, in his words, thrown into existence. And now, every single second, you are 100% responsible for creating who you are. Every choice, every omission, every step you take or fail to take is a brushstroke in the painting of your being. Think about everyday examples. Choosing a profession isn't just a decision about how to pay the bills. It's an act of self-definition. When you choose to be a doctor, an engineer, or an artist, you're not just choosing a task. You're choosing to become a certain type of person, with certain values and a certain way of seeing the world. And the responsibility for that choice is entirely yours. Even more so, staying in a job you hate, the one that drains your energy and makes you question everything. That's not fate. It's not what life made of you. It's an active choice you renew every morning when you get out of bed. Of course, there are bills to pay, fears, uncertainties, but deep down, the decision to stay is yours. This total responsibility, with no excuses, with no one to point the finger at. Not your parents, not society, not some cosmic plan. That is the true source of anguish. It's not an anxiety disorder in the clinical sense. It's the vertigo of standing at the edge of a cliff, with no guardrail, knowing that nothing stops you from jumping but your own choice. At every moment, you are the sole author of the next chapter. And that is terrifying. So, if you feel this weight, this restlessness, this paralysis in the face of possibilities, understand this. You are not weak or flawed. You are just feeling the real, crushing weight of the human condition. But what does the human mind do when faced with such a heavy burden? It seeks an escape. If total freedom is a source of anguish, the most natural, almost instinctive reaction is to try to get rid of it. And how do we do that? By creating a prison. A comfortable prison, with predictable routines, well-defined roles, and clear rules. A cell with walls made of excuses. This is where Sartre's wisdom brilliantly meets that of Carl Jung. Sartre calls this escape bad faith. Bad faith is the act of lying to yourself. It's the self-sabotage mechanism, where you pretend you're not free to escape the responsibility of choosing. It's the voice in your head that says, I have no choice. I have to stay in this relationship. Or, I can't change careers now. It's too late. Or the most common of all, that's just the way I am. I can't change. Each of these phrases is a small lie, a brick you use to build the walls of your own prison. You treat yourself as an object, a stone that can do nothing but follow the laws of physics, instead of seeing yourself as a radically free human. And Carl Jung gives a name to this cell we build with bad faith: the persona. Think of the persona as your social mask. It's the collection of roles you play to be accepted and function in the world. It's the good child who never disappoints their parents. It's the successful professional who is always busy and competent. It's the perfect partner who never shows weakness. We learn from an early age that to be loved and validated, we need to wear the right mask at the right time. The problem isn't having a persona. It's necessary for social life. The problem is when we become so attached to this mask that we forget who is truly underneath. The prison becomes too comfortable. The mask merges with the face. And to keep this facade intact, we are forced to do something else. Suppress everything that doesn't fit the script. All our inappropriate passions, our strange thoughts, our vulnerabilities, and our rawest desire. Jung called this hidden part the shadow. The shadow is everything you are but pretend not to be. so that your persona can keep pleasing the audience. This prison you build is safe, it's predictable, people applaud you for your role. But it comes at a very high cost. It's lifeless. It disconnects you from your wholeness, from your soul. And that's why, even when you have everything the persona should want, the job, the relationship, the status, you can still feel empty. It's the subtle discomfort of playing a role in a play you never chose to write. So, that anxiety that haunts you, that feeling of emptiness that appears in the quietest hours, those are not signs that you are broke. Quite the contrary. They are symptoms of health. They are your soul's fire. It's your true self. What Jung called the self, your totality, including the persona and the shadow, suffocating under the masks, screaming for freedom. It's a call to authenticity. And this is where everything changes. The anguish Sartre described is not your enemy. It's not a monster to be defeated. It is your internal compass. Anguish is the signal that you are facing an important choice. A choice that forces you to get off your persona's autopilot and consciously decide who you want to be. It points exactly to the area of your life where you are living in bad faith, where you are lying to yourself. Anguish is your guide back home, to your true center. But how do you navigate this journey? Knowing that anguish is a compass is one thing, but using it to find your way through the fog is another. This is where the practical wisdom of Stoicism becomes an indispensable tool. The Stoics, like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, taught us about the dichotomy of control. The idea is simple but transformative. In any situation, separate what you can control from what you cannot. You cannot control the fundamental condition of being condemned to be free. You can't control the economy, the opinions of others, or the fact that every choice implies a loss. But there is one single thing that is under your absolute control: how you respond to all of this. You control your choices, your judgments, and your actions. Instead of fighting the feeling of anguish, you can choose to welcome it as a guide. Instead of being paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake, you can choose to focus on the small step you can take right. Welcoming anguish as a sign and focusing on your conscious choices is the first step in what Jung called the individuation process. Individuation is the lifelong journey of becoming who you truly are. It's the process of integrating the shadow, understanding the persona without identifying, and living from yourself. It's about ceasing to be an actor and becoming the author of your own life. So, how do you bring all this into practice? How do you start dismantling the walls of this comfortable prison? The answer isn't in a drastic, revolutionary change, but in small acts of conscious courage. The first practical step is to audit your excuses. Acknowledge your own bad faith. Take the area of your life where you feel most stuck, most trapped. It could be your career, your relationship, your health. Now, take a piece of paper and list all the reasons why you can't change. Be honest. I can't leave my job because of financial instability. I can't end my relationship because I'll hurt the other person. I can't start exercising because I don't have time. After listing all these reasons, next to each one, rewrite the sentence. But this time, start with, I choose. I can't leave my job becomes, I choose to stay in my job because I value security over my unhappiness. I can't hurt the other person becomes, I choose to prioritize the other person's feelings over my own need for change. See the difference? The first sentence puts you in the role of a victim of circumstances. The second gives you back the power. It might be uncomfortable because it forces you to face your responsibility, but it's the truth. And only the truth can set you free. You are the agent, the decision maker. The second step is to perform a micro act of freedom. You don't have to blow up the prison and change your entire life today. That would just be another form of paralyzing anguish. Instead, train your authenticity muscle. Over the next 2 days, make one small choice that is 100% yours, that challenges your persona's script, even if no one notices. Say no to an invitation you would only attend out of obligation. Listen to that type of music you love at full volume, the one others find weird. Spend an hour doing something that has zero productivity, just for the pure pleasure of it. Wear an outfit that makes you feel good, even if it's not what's expected of you. Each of these small acts is a crack of light in the wall of your cell. It's a reminder to yourself that you are free, that there is a you beyond the role you play. Remember the key Jung gave us to get out of the prison? The great revelation is this: the key isn't meant to break down the door. It's meant to make you realize that the door was never locked. The anguish you feel isn't the prison, it's the wind blowing from the outside, reminding you that there is a vast world, full of possibilities, waiting for you. The map to navigate this world isn't in a book or a guru. It is your own soul, with its lights and shadows. And the courage to be free, to take responsibility for your choices, is the first and most important step on the journey. If this journey of self-discovery resonates with you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. With each video, we dive deeper into these tools for life. And if this content brought you a moment of clarity, hit the like button so this message can reach more people who, like us, sometimes feel paralyzed. What comfortable prison do you recognize in your own life today? Share your thoughts in the comments if you feel comfortable. Reading each other's experiences is part of our collective process of liberation.